Huli ka ni Jojo Sibial. You have the right to remain silent.
We announced the agenda for the hearing. Both appear to be my bill, Senate Bill 179 for the new Omnibus Election Code. And this is Article 2 defining terms in-country voting for the national local election, and Article 11, the hybrid election system, as well as Article 21, canvassing of votes, Section 239. And hereafter, we also have Senate Bill 1156, providing for hybrid national, local, and Bangsamoro Autonomous Region elections through manual and automated voting and counting. How that hybrid system shall look is what we need to tackle this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. As far as the first issue, which was mentioned by the Honorable Chairperson, the issue of the honoraria to be received by the members of the Comelec Advisory Council, we honestly believe, well, personally, that the said amount should be included in the budget of the DICT. It should not be included in the budget of the Commission on Election, because this is an advisory council, which is an independent body, independent from the Commission on Election. We do not want to be accused that we are holding such fund for purposes of influencing the advice of the Comelec Advisory Council. So it should be lodged before the DICT, Your Honor.
Okay, so that seems reasonable, so that there can be no question that they're being objective and they're actually detached from the process. Pati yung budget, ihiwalay na natin sa DICT. So we follow the Senate Bill 1156 that lodges the budget in the DICT, at wag na lang sa COMELEC kasi it confuses the issue. Well taken po.
But even on the assumption that that we are going to count each ballot 1 minute per ballot, and there will be 800 ballots, on the assumption that all the voters in a particular precinct will be able to vote, that will require about 13.33 hours, additional 13.33 hours. And even if we are able to count the ballots using the machines in a matter of 30 minutes, then you will be needing additional 13.33 hours, Your Honor. And that is on the assumption only of 800 voters being able to vote.
Conducted previous to the May elections, precisely to test this out. Perhaps Director Sino Cruz or someone else who assisted us during that effort.
I may not be able to recall the exact time in motion study and the if I may be given additional information, when was it conducted?
The COMELEC is now in the crucial stage of initially preparing our TOR for the 2025 elections, the automation of the election. Our policy direction is actually fast track, meaning full automation with transparency count and audit, without setting aside random manual audit, which is specifically provided by Republic Act 9369. We are looking into the possibility of a machine being able to count automatically, and at the same time using the same machine to manually count the votes in the ballots. Simply because in using the barcode or something like that, the problem, Madam Chair, is the question is what particular document are we going to use? Are we going to use the ballot, or are we going to use the receipt? Because there were certain sectors saying we should only use the receipts. But however, in the case of Maliksi versus the Commission on Election, it was only the ballot images that was sustained by the Supreme Court as an original ballot, and therefore you cannot use the receipt because the receipts are not ballots per se. And so what we are saying is, in our draft TOR, which we are trying to consult with the CAC, and we are asking the CAC for guidance, in our draft TOR, we are saying that there will still be automation of the election, full automation, and immediately after the sending of the of the result and the printing of the 8 election returns, the machine per se will allow manual count because we will be requiring a 13-inch screen for the machine. We are not at liberty at this point to explain further the content of the TOR because it is still in the initial stage, Madam Chair. But we will definitely submit the same to the Senate Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation.
So the possibility is that the same machine will undertake both the automated as well as the manual count. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
One after the other.
Yes.
Mauna yung automated, pagkatapos
Send
yung
na muna
manual. In both cases, ang bibilangin yung ballot as upheld by the Supreme Court. Yun ang sinasabi po ni Chairman. Pero yung TOR is in the process of being written up and we are not yet in a position to divulge. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. Like for example, what if the same screen will be able to show the ballot images, all the ballot images as is contained in the SD cards?
Matutuwa yung mga tao niyan pag nakita nila yung balota nila kasi yun talaga ang hinahanap, di ba? Yun
Yes.
ang ating ninanais na magkaroon ng hybrid at pagtibayin ang tiwala ng taong bayan sa proseso natin sa pagboboto.
But in order not to delay, Madam Chair,
Ayun na nga, the question is, ayaw naman natin na ganun katagal. So I just had a very simple question. We've undertaken many manual elections, particularly with the barangay and the SK elections. Gaano ba katagal? Kasi ang pagkaalala ko, hindi naman ganun katagal na 13.3 hours. Ang naaalala ko sa probinsya, mabilis lang yan eh. Hindi naman super bilis, pero hindi rin naman katagalan na magdamagan.
pag barangay po kasi, Madam Chair, 400 lang ang registered voters per clustered precinct. So on the assumption that only about 200 to 250 will be able to vote, so you will be needing only about 2.5 to 3 hours to count individually the ballots po.
May bar scanning eh. Kung walang scanning yung purely manual, gaano katagal yun? Mas lalong matagal. Siyempre.
Madam Chair, with your kind indulgence.
Or antayin na natin yung TOR and yung machine that will have capability to do both.
Yes, Madam Chair. Before the end of this month, the COMELEC hopefully will be able to come up with the TOR. We are waiting for the recommendation of the COMELEC Advisory Council. This representation that already written twice, Honorable Secretary Ivan Uy, for guidance.
In which instance, we would like to state that hybrid now, the definition of hybrid election should not only pertain to automated and manual. Hybrid can also pertain to automated with transparency, which is also automated. So people can see the actual ballots, which is equivalent to manual audit as well. So basically, kung ganun po ma'am, it will facilitate all and trust issues will be solved.
Yes, Commissioner Celis.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. In our recent National Election Summit, last March 8 to 10 sa Sofitel, there were a lot of technologies that were already demonstrated in public. So that's for 3 days. So when it comes to cost consideration, there are several alternatives in making sure that we're using a cost-effective system. Meron mga systems that uses touchscreen, DRE. Some are using cell phones, tablets. But this can be considered.
There are many cheaper methods, but we're always questioning their safety, no? And the provision of adequate safeguards kapag internet, kapag cellphone, kasi napakadaling i-hack ng mga ito.
Of course, in our plan for the national and local elections, our vision is to make sure that we don't make use of internet voting for the national and local elections through the use of the internet. So what we're going to do is really to make sure yung transmission will be secure, not really making use of the internet.
That's right. Another costly offshoot of these changes, hopefully, Commissioner Celis, we are in fact able to find affordable systems that will adequately address the problems of dagdag bawas, human error, and the rest. The offshoot always is that there are so many petitions that the COMELEC is tasked to resolve. And these are with regard to manifest errors following manual counts. So hopefully, the hybrid system will also decrease the number of these very obvious patent errors.
So we have our own proposal for this section 128 and 129 to protect the revision, the law, as proposed by the Honorable Senator. Kasi magaling ang author ng law na nire-revise natin.
Yeah, pero perfectly open to
Thank you, Madam. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And
Madam Chair, all the software that were used in 2022 are owned by COMELEC already. We have the source code and we had a training of the source code.
tama,
After that,
we went through that, di ba, in the 18th Congress bago mag-eleksyon. Pero since we have to change and redesign, kaya ba natin mag-redesign ng sariling sistema?
We can use po yung Smartmatic CCS with some modification. We can already do that kasi po we have na the training on the source code.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Madam Chair, that's one of the points of discussion and will be the serious debate among the members of the commission, simply because we do not want any indication that we are favoring, when we prepare the TOR, we are favoring one provider as against the other. It should be a free-for-all. We would like the best technology available in the market and the technology that will protect the credibility, integrity, and the transparency of the election. And that's why we will be recommending to the President, for purposes of our budget, that we will not only change the hardware, we will have to change the software, and at the same time, there should be a separate TOR for the hardware, separate TOR for the software, and there should be a separate TOR for the transmission.
As the co-chair of the advisory council, that it is true that they convened the advisory council as of March 6, and in the presence of Commissioner Celis, who was also representing COMELEC at that time, and it was been agreed by the members of the council what particular platform would the commission be looking at, and what are the timelines that we have to look into, and that is already put into the minutes. And as to the other members who would like to be, among the stakeholders who would like to be, we leave that to the discretion of the chairman of the council. As far as the technology is concerned, for behalf of the industry, we are supportive of whatever technology that can, and we have seen the exhibitors during the election summit, and from what we've gathered from the consultations for those present, it seems that it's the advances in technology has been very progressive, and even converting whatever software or hardware need be necessary to comply with the law can be provided nowadays. In fact, probably the timeline of development could even be shortened thanks to the advances with AI. We're talking about artificial intelligence, wherein there are so many software development toolkits that can make programming a lot faster. So it's not really rocket science, so to speak, because we're being familiar with this implementation for the past 5 elections. We have undergone, we've seen all the glitches and the lapses of the technology being used, and that's why we support the position of the chairman of COMELEC, wherein we'd like to start off anew, fresh, because we would not want to be committed to a single vendor. If possible, it's good that they're looking into the option of having a separate TOR for the hardware, a separate TOR for the software, separate TOR for the transmission, or whatever the advisory council would agree upon. And our organization, the Philippine Computer Society, have submitted our recommendation to the advisory council, where they communicated in coming up with a more thorough subcommittees unlike what we have on the law, where it's only a flat line, but to create other subcommittees, not only for with respect to the TOR, but also for the implementation, like project management, change management, because we don't want the same errors that happened in the past. For example, the time that they inserted that ENYE, they call it cosmetic change, there's no such thing as cosmetic change in IT. What we call it in the industry is we call it change management, and there's a certain protocol. Unfortunately, those measures were not incorporated by the project management office or implementing body within the commission. So we would like to submit that for recommendation to the advisory council in view that they will submit that to the M-Bank. Thank you, Mr. Chair.